Success isn't for the chosen few, it's for those who choose to show up, take action, and never back down. This is the Empower Entrepreneur, hosted by Rohit Soni, airing across 185 countries, 26 plus TV networks, and 100 plus podcast stations. You've heard the strategies, you've seen the mindset. Now it's time to execute. I'll see you next week, every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. Go, build, dominate. Until next time, stay empowered. So, hello and welcome back to the Empower Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host, Rohit Soni, and today is going to be an important episode, not just for you, but for your life, for what you're doing. But on top of that, how you want to move forward with clarity, with wisdom, and something that's going to stick with you no matter what, right? Before I go deeper in the episode, I would love to invite my guest on the stage. And before I do that, I want to introduce them to you quickly. Today on the Empower Entrepreneur, we are joined by Anthony Nayagan, an executive coach, speaker, and spiritual strategist who brings a rare blend of ancient wisdom and modern leadership. With roots in a 5,000-year-old Tamil Siddhar lineage and a foundation in technology and system thinking, Anthony brings two worlds, helping leaders access deeper clarity, sharper decision making, and sustainable success. He's also the author of Supreme Realization and Ancient Wisdom and Modern Leadership, and his work focuses on what he calls internal intelligence, the untapped source of awareness, creativity, and insight that most leaders never fully access. Today, we explore how understanding consciousness, pattern recognition, and ancient frameworks can give entrepreneurs a powerful edge in today's complex world. So, in saying that, I would love to get my guest Anthony on the stage. Hi, Anthony. How are you doing?
Hello, namaste.
Yeah, I love to have you, Anthony. And there's a lot to be uncovered today. But in saying that, we would love to know a bit more about you and how you started this journey.
Okay. Um, how did I start the journey? Look, my journey started when I was extremely young, maybe 4 years old. Um, but the thing is, I never wanted to go on that journey. I wanted to be like all the other kids. Um, but it's not exactly my faithfulness or my uh, efforts that actually brought me into this path. Um, it is a sort of a seeking that was happening within me, even beyond my control. So that's how I got started. So if you ask me, is there a pivotal moment in my life that changed everything? I cannot say if I had any. Really cannot. Okay. Does it answer the question? Yeah.
That does answer the question. And in saying that, let's talk a little bit about the foundation, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh, what is quantum consciousness in practical terms? So let's take a deeper dive into the topic for our podcast today.
Okay. Everything that is not a matter of our being is consciousness. Okay. But unfortunately, we are very matter centric. And in that matter centricness, even we want to understand what is consciousness as it relates to the matter. We just don't want to, we simply cannot relate to consciousness just the way it is. We cannot. We actually want to bring in that observer observed effect, flatten the consciousness so that we can see how it influences in a material order. that is the wrong way of understanding what exactly is consciousness. Consciousness is something you need to plunge into. You need to delve into it, and then you know, in other words, it's the surrender to a much higher power than our material being. That is the consciousness within us. So we can start our surrender by surrendering to our own consciousness.
Exactly. And in saying that, what's the difference that you see, right, in internal and external intelligence when we take a deeper dive in consciousness?
Okay. See, when we look at external intelligence, I mean, is intelligence related to our brain? Well, yeah. Uh, is intelligence related to our memories? Yes. But you see, our material being, even our skin, can remember things. In other words, even our skin can have memory capacity. It does. Okay, so it is not exactly our brain. All right. But see, when we look at it seriously, our mind is not an organ, but we have trained our mind so rigorously to operate like it's a matter. You see, so it kind of adheres to orders, it adheres to logic, it adheres to um, memories, it adheres to our perceptive intelligence, it adheres to our learned intelligence, it adheres to a lot of things that are not exactly present moment intelligence. It's all based on what is in the past, what we learned, and what is in the past, all our experiences that goes back to our past and derives from that past experience. See, that is really what external intelligence is. See, even when you are looking at a subject, for instance, let's say physics. Uh, see, even though the physics clearly says that the wave function is fiercely independent and it has its own dynamics and all of that. We just cannot relate to that. We want to reduce it. We want to flatten it so that we can put it in a dualistic order. What is wave, what is matter, and how wave and relates to the matter in a flattened capacity. You see, so in other words, what I'm trying to say is, see, our external intelligence is limited because we deliberately limit it. So anything we learned, even what we learned in universities, what we learned in life through experience, it really doesn't matter what it is, though all of them are limited dualistic intelligence. Whereas external intelligence is the opposite. See, external intelligence is pure energy. It's dormant within us. And it is incredibly creative, incredibly intelligent, incredibly healing, incredibly emotional. It's very, very hard to describe it. It's freedom, it's independence, and it is scope. It literally is, when the matter extends into infinity, where the matter becomes nothing. The matter itself becomes meaningless when it gets into the infinite space. That is the difference between external and internal intelligence. The only way we can relate to internal intelligence is when we transcend external intelligence. You see, we call that in in Hindu religion we call that nirvana. Even in Buddhist, call the same thing. or we call them samadhi, we call them, we have all kinds of words to it. In the West, we call that stillness. Stillness means it's nothingness. There is nothing occupying your mind. Your mind itself has become still. In that capacity, you can relate to internal intelligence and you can get into the realm of all knowing. It is not knowledge, it's all knowing. You see, it is a kind of a knowing uh, that, see, even among Siddhar, you see, it's a knowing that starts from, a mineral all the way to the cosmic intelligence. You see, that's how vast and infinite and scopeful it is. See, it's the same intelligence that taught us our first language. We still have it within us. We still don't know how to use it. And we need to learn how to use that. When we learn how to use that, our capacity as a human being is something, it literally is it's of infinite potential.
Exactly. And in saying that, Anthony, we have to run into a quick break. But when we come back, we will discuss with everyone Siddhi, Mukti, and pattern recognition in depth too, right? So it's not just about internal, external intelligence, it's much deeper. So we'll see everyone after this quick break. As a coach or a consultant, your focus should be on transforming lives, not struggling to get clients. That's where my company Amplify Media comes in to help you not just scale your business, but to consistently give you the revenue that your business deserves. We actually build a done-for-you lead generation acquisition system that brings in clients consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next client is coming in. You focus on the most important thing that is scaling your business and impacting your own coaching clients. From high impact marketing and scroll stopping content to expert funnel creation, we take your business from point A to point B with precision. Coaches and consultants worldwide trust the company. We have over 277 plus clients, case studies all around the world, help tons and tons of businesses scale. So your next level is waiting. Let's make your brand unforgettable and visit the website today. I would love to offer you a free strategy session to share with you how we can help scale your business. Thank you. So, hello and welcome back to the Empower Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host, Rohit Soni, and I'm back again with my guest, Anthony. And I know we discussed a lot about internal and external intelligence prior. So, let's just take a deeper dive here, right? So, according to you, Anthony, what is the difference between Siddhi and Mukti?
Siddhi and Mukti has one thing in common, that they are rooted in internal intelligence. And in that stage, they have reached a certain level of self-realization. A realization in which the inspirations, the ideas, the patterns, and everything that comes out of you literally has a divine origin. Because, and in that depth, you are able to see, in other words, what the mind of God and the mind of your own, meaning, you at soul level, it's pretty much becomes one and the same. Okay. But the difference is, see, when you're a Siddhar, your ego is very much intact. In other words, it's repositioned altogether and it's repurposed altogether, but it's still intact. Because in our being, it's our ego that makes us very willful. So because of that, our actions and our thoughts and our decisions and everything we do and everything we inspire, it's transformative to the people in general. It transforms their lives. And when you're a siddhar, you don't have to be a brahmachari, for instance. You can be a samsari, and you can have a regular life. You can run companies. You can, be a top-notch politician. You can be a creative artist. You can be anything. But your inspirations, your creativity, your innovations, and your ideas, and everything, it has a sort of an origin that begins to transform everything. That is the level of a siddhar. Now, when we have reached a stage of mukti, mukti is a further transcendence from the siddhi stage. Okay, when you are in the mukti stage, then you don't have to do anything. Your ego is no longer in play. It just your being will transform everybody who encounters you. And we have many people like that in India. For instance, like Sriti Sai Baba was like that, Ramana Maharishi was like that, Lahari Masaya was like that, Adi Sankaracharya was like that, Ananda Mahima, Nisargadatta Maharaj, all of them are like that. They are people who have reached the stage of mukti. And in that stage, they don't need to do anything. Just their presence alone will transform everything. So, if you have noticed, the word I use here is transformation. You see, so when you are rooted in internal intelligence, the effect is transformation. When you are rooted in external intelligence, the effect is change. There is a big difference between change and transformation. You see that? And that's the whole purpose of it.
Exactly, and I agree with it, right? It's all about what's within us and how it's, the output comes in front of the world and how people are impacted with the same. In saying that, Anthony, how does these concepts apply to leadership and entrepreneurship today, and why these are very powerful?
Why is this very powerful? Oh, see, when we are not tapping into our internal intelligence, our energy is pretty much flattened. See, for instance, a thought is a flattened energy. Okay, it is not a very active energy. Whereas an emotion is an active energy, a lot of frequency. And so, what actually is happening is, if I could just explain this more in a sort of a spiritual context. See, we as human beings, unrealized of internal intelligence, we are just a thought in the omnipresence of divine consciousness. It's just a thought. Okay? The thought becomes active with prana. So, in other words, when we are meditating and when we are using prana, that is the breath of life, to induce activities at our soul level, meaning at our Mooladhara, then it becomes very active. Otherwise it just stays dormant. When the Mooladhara becomes active by way of prana, inducing prana, then it begins to rise up.
Exactly.
Okay? So that is really what meditation is all about. Okay? It's inducing the Mooladhara, which in Christianity is called the Atman or the soul, you actually, bring it out of that flattened, um, situation. For that, you use your breath, you use your prana to induce it. Then the energy is going to rise up. For us to do that, mindfulness is not going to be able to do it. Mindfulness will further flatten it and make it even worse, because mindfulness is associated with thoughtfulness, which is flat to begin with. Okay, so we need to transcend the mindfulness to enter into, in other words, enter into that the infinite realm of internal intelligence.
Exactly.
Okay, and that's how we bring it out. Now, when we bring this out, see, everything you do becomes transformative. You see, I mean, for instance, I'll give you one example. You see, just within a few decades, how many, let's say 4 or 5 decades, Narayana Murthy in Bangalore, he started Infosys. Okay, imagine there's a lot of people who followed him. There's a lot of Me Too's came along. But whatever Narayana Murthy did, it transformed everything, not just his company, from the neighborhood he lived in all the way into our national economy. It transformed everything. See, that is how internal intelligence operates. It's not changes, it is not competition, it is not coming up with an edge, it is a determination to transform everything you come up with, everything you touch, everyone you encounter. That is true leadership. Bring about changes is something else. See, for instance, take a look at Mahatma Gandhi. He did not bring about changes, he brought about transformation. You see? So, transformation is everything. So, whoever, any leader who is entrenched in internal intelligence, the outcome is transformation, not change. Okay? Transcend everything you touch, everything you encounter, everything you come up with, every policy you come up with, every decision you make, it is going to transform everything. That is the power of it.
Exactly. In saying that, let's talk about the Indian edge as well, right? We talk about Indian edge. What does that mean for modern entrepreneurs today?
Is it modern entrepreneurs in India or modern entrepreneurs everywhere else?
Everywhere else.
Okay. Well, let's start with India. It becomes easy. Okay. So the entrepreneurs in India, see, we have become incredibly competitive, in our education system. See, our universities have gained worldwide recognition, and the people who have come out of these universities have become top leaders, top CEOs, and top influencers all across the world. But you see, one of the things that happened in the West, when they started excel in external intelligence, the internal part of it kind of reduced to pretty much flattened to nothing, had no effect at all. They thrived only on external intelligence. See, India, as the oldest living civilization and the country that speaks the oldest scripted language in the world, what drove us to this stability and this strength and this recognition is our roots in Siddhic and Mukti intelligence. See, there's a lot of things we did as Siddhars. It still exists, and it is still being practiced in India. For instance, temple architecture is one of them, or traditional medicines is another one. See, the way we create art and music and all of that is another one. There are so many things that originated with Siddhic intelligence. It's still alive in India. See, for us, learning about Siddhic intelligence and surrendering to that kind of a power and applying that to everything we do, it becomes very intuitive.
Exactly.
Okay. But whereas when I go to the West and when I try to explain these things, they're not as intuitive. I need to walk them through, uh, you know, also the definitions, and it really it's an uphill challenge for me to really help them understand and incorporate it within their lifestyle. But Indians are not like that. Indians, it's very intuitive, extremely intuitive. They can adapt to it very easily. You see, but the thing is, we should not let our external intelligence, in other words, our superiority in external intelligence, uh, corrupt what we are as Siddhic and people of Siddhi and Mutti and all of that. We should not. I mean, that's the root and that's the basis of who we are and our own identity. We should never lose that.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm loving the episode, Anthony, the wisdom that you're dropping, and I know it's very valuable for our audience. But yet, saying that, we have to run into another quick break. But when we come back, we have a rapid fire for you. So I'll see everyone after this quick break. As a coach or a consultant, your focus should be on transforming lives, not struggling to get clients. That's where my company Amplify Media comes in to help you not just scale your business, but to consistently give you the revenue that your business deserves. We actually build a done-for-you lead generation acquisition system that brings in clients consistently so that you don't have to worry about where the next client is coming in. You focus on the most important thing that is scaling your business and impacting your own coaching clients. From high impact marketing and scroll stopping content to expert funnel creation, we take your business from point A to point B with precision. Coaches and consultants worldwide trust the company. We have over 277 plus clients, case studies all around the world, help tons and tons of businesses scale. So your next level is waiting. Let's make your brand unforgettable and visit the website today. I would love to offer you a free strategy session to share with you how we can help scale your business. Thank you. So, hello everyone, welcome back to the Empower Entrepreneur TV show. This is your host Rohit, and I'll get my guest Anthony on the stage again. Anthony, like I said, I'm loving the episode. I'm loving the deeper dive that you have taken, and some things that people really appreciate because we know these things. It's just that we are not consistently confronted, right? So, in saying that, I'll just quickly ask you the fun part, right? The rapid fire. One misconception about consciousness.
Oh, it's not misconception. This is all external intelligence that has taught us that consciousness has something to do with our mind. Okay. From a spiritual perspective, hardly, not at all. Okay. It is something far removed from our mind, mindfulness, mindful consciousness. Far removed and far superior.
One practice to improve clarity.
Meditation. Meditation and 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 intent listening.
One mistake leaders make when making decisions.
One mistake. It's fear. See, leaders always think in terms of a backup plan. See, when we are in the realm of internal intelligence and divine wisdom, there is no backup plan. Okay. So we put too much energy into a backup plan when we rely on external intelligence. See, that's a sign that we are not being very intuitive.
Hmm. What are the signs that we are disconnected from internal intelligence?
What are the other signs that we are disconnected from it? Oh, there are so many I can list. Um, One is we are anxious, um, and another thing that we actually take for granted, we are not spontaneously loving. We always tend to find fault. We always look at other people, uh, connect with them at their thought level, and we don't connect with other people at a deeper level. The minute we start connecting with each other at thought level, we have completely far removed from our internal intelligence.
Exactly.
Okay? Yeah, come on.
Yeah. And what do you suggest a few skill sets a leader should transcend in order to pursue intelligence internally?
Few skill sets, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Look, skill set, when you say skill set, it really kind of borders on external intelligence. Okay? All right. Unfortunately, that's where we all need to start. Okay? And if you want to develop certain things within you, number one, never be afraid. Okay? And number two, be fearless when it comes to expressing your now.
Exactly.
Okay? Be fearless, absolutely fearless. And the third thing that you do, you always seek to increase knowledge.
Exactly.
Your knowledge should always be on the increase. Whether you are seeking or whether you are seeking all knowing or whether you are seeking external intelligence, that seeking should always be constant.
Yeah. Awesome, brother. And I loved it, right, Anthony? I think this was very valuable for our audience. And saying that, any last thing you want to say before we go off here? Because I know there's a lot to still discuss, but yeah, maybe we can set up another episode for our audience and do it again. So they'll love it. I know when it's on air, when it's live, Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern, people are going to love it. But yes, anything that you want to share with it, any last message before we go off?
When you are meditating, um, transcending your mind, when you are using your prana, always know for a fact that your prana is a sacrifice of divine love. Because according to Upanishad, it's that sacrifice of love created the universe. So when we are breathing in your prana, every drop of it is a sacrifice of love. Try to experience that love. And when you experience that love in your prana, you will become incredibly creative and innovative and loving and everything. Just be, trust and have faith and have all your dependence. In other words, if you were to put everything in one thing, just know that every drop of breath that is coming inside you, it's coming in the form of a divine sacrifice. Try to experience that. Then we become a whole different human being altogether. Thank you.
Thanks a
Thank
lot,
you,
Anthony, for
Bernard.
being here on the
Thank
show.
you. Thank
And in saying that, we have to go off air, but that doesn't mean we stop, right? I'll see everyone at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern this Thursday for this episode. And I want to make sure you make notes because this has been an amazing show. And we'll love to have Anthony again. and we'll share all his contact details and his LinkedIn, his website, just so that you can connect with him and get in touch, right? I'll see you everyone next week, same time. Success isn't for the chosen few. It's for those who choose to show up, take action, and never back down. This is the Empower Entrepreneur, hosted by Rohit Soni, airing across 185 countries, 26 plus TV networks, and 100 plus podcast stations. You've heard the strategies, you've seen the mindset. Now it's time to execute. I'll see you next week, every Thursday at 5 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Eastern. Go, build, dominate. Until next time, stay empowered.